Hi, and welcome everybody to the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast on the Winner's Circle Sports Betting channel. Try to say that 10 times real fast, folks. And today I am joined by Mr. Sean Higgs of picksandparleys.net and Mr. Jesse Shule of jesseshule.com. My fellow colleagues, pros, and we've been doing it all around the same time in this business, and we persevered and we continue to persevere. Jesse, how are you, man?
Doing well, Ross.
All right. And Sean?
Same old. Back to just another day. Baseball. We got a little NBA. Although it's been a lackluster conference finals, I'd have to say, no?
Well, I mean, conference finals, both conference finals in the NBA and both conference finals in the NHL. I mean, Florida won last night again, and they're now 3-0 with the 3-0 series lead over the Carolina Hurricanes, and then Vegas a 2-0 lead over the Dallas Stars. And we all know the Lakers got eliminated last night, and Boston's on the cusp of elimination tonight. And I'm interested in what you guys have to say on game 4 of this series right now. Miami, as we speak.
Hold on a second, Ron. I want to say real fast, we don't really touch on hockey a lot, but how about we could have a Vegas, Florida Stanley Cup? Like two of the hottest. One is just a dry heat that will, fry chicken on a rock, and the other place is so moist and humid you can just bake things in your garage. It gets so. What happened to the Canadians? It's played on ice, and we're going to have a game in a desert and in tropical climates.
There's something fundamentally wrong with that,
Right? I don't know. That's just
and you get a lot of people above the border, in Canada. I mean, that's their sport, originated anyway.
But even Buffalo, Detroit, Chicago, you'd think a little cold weather.
Yeah. Well, we certainly could use some playoff hockey here in Western New York. My beloved Rochester Americans of the AHL are in the Calder Cup semifinals. I look forward to that. Jesse, I'm going on Friday or Saturday and Monday to game 3 and 4 in that series as they take on the Hershey Bears, the top farm club of the Washington Capitals. So speaking of hockey, I'm glad you brought that up. And now the folks are going, okay, Ross, we don't want to talk about the AHL, and that's okay. You're right.
Especially if there's no lines on it, they don't want to talk about it.
Oh, there is lines on it. You can find lines on the AHL. Matter of fact, I bet Rochester in game 3 against Toronto, the best of 5 in the 3-game sweep got completed. I had them at -115. It's,
a nice number.
Oh, yeah. So just a little fun money, you know what I mean? Because I was going to the game. But anyway, all right, let's get on to more important things here. All right. Boston and Miami. Jesse, who's half asleep this morning. We don't know what time it is in Thailand. Only he knows. So we want to make sure. And he's like a child. He's eating and he's ready for bed. Anyway, Jesse, go right ahead and tell us what you think about this game and where your money's going.
Lots of thoughts here, Ross. Albert Einstein said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So if you've been betting on the Celtics in this series, I don't know how you come back with them in game 4. I mean, to me, Miami has proven that they are the better team with the better coach and the better superstar. Now they have home court. It doesn't bode well in game 4 when you're down 0-3. I don't know if you guys have taken a look at the numbers, but I believe it's somewhere to the tune of 68% of teams that have a 3-0 lead end up clinching in the 4th game. And that's probably even better when that team is at home. I like Miami. The Boston Celtics haven't given me any reason to back them here. And I would actually approach a strategy that I want to talk about, but I don't call it a martingale because that is for fools. But I would back Miami here. And if somehow they don't pull it off tonight, I would go back and back them again in game 5. Of course, you're going to be getting big money, plus money in that game, and come right back in game 6 if it goes that far. I would end it there, though. But I just don't think it's going to get that far. And I mean, historically, it's only gone to a 6th game, I believe. It's gone to a 7th game 3 times in history. when a team's been up 3-0. So I like Miami, but my actual big plays on this game involve Jason Tatum and Jimmy Butler. I'm going under the Tatum total points again, same as game 3. The number is 29.5. Tatum is averaging 27.8 points per game in the playoffs. He's only averaging 24.8 points per game on the road in the playoffs, which is exactly the same as during the regular season. He averaged 3 points less on the road than he did at home. So a number of 29.5 when he's averaging 24.8 in road games. I just think it's a swollen number, and he looked awful in game 3. I also like his PRA under 45.5. That's an awful lot of points, rebounds, and assists for Tatum. He's only averaging roughly 43 in the playoffs, and the number is 45.5, and he's coming off a bit of a stinker. So I'll take his under in his PRA. I also like series points leader. I believe right now Tatum and Butler are dead even in points scored in the series. They got Tatum minus 175 and Butler plus 125 to lead the series in points. Well, Butler's averaging more points per game than is Tatum. Butler's got the home game tonight. Butler's team's supposed to win. I'll take Butler at the plus 25 to lead the series in scoring. And yeah, I mean, how many plays is that now? That's a few. So
I lost track.
I'll end it there.
Yeah. All right. So you want take Miami tonight. If they lose, take Miami until the day you die. That's basically what Jesse's
pretty much.
Yeah. Or until it becomes the first team ever to lose a 3-0 lead and lose a series, which we know has never happened before. So, and in any event, Sean, a little bit of switch here is Miami's a favorite in the, and Jesse, you're going to go over all those picks for the folks at the end of the show. So if you don't mind, because that's a lot for them to absorb. It's a lot for us to absorb. And you've been doing awfully well, and we certainly don't want to shortchange the viewers out there. Sean, Miami, a favorite for the first time in a series, an overreaction, a proper reaction. I know
it's an overreaction. They've destroyed these guys every game.
Yeah.
I mean, zero respect for this. We said it when it started. Zero respect for these guys coming into this. 8-point dogs game 1, 9-point dogs game 2. This is a good team.
Yeah.
And as Jess said, teams up 3-0. I mean, we're lucky. Most times, teams up 3-0 at home, they'll be laying 9 points, 8 points, 11 points because they've been destroying the other team. Here, we're lucky. It's a big lay 120. And he talks about the 3-0 comebacks. I remember it was my wedding day. Sox Yankees. Yankees up 3-0. I had a giant ice sculpture, and they come back, and Boston beats these guys 4 in a row in 2004. Terrible. Although somehow I had a happy marriage, even though we've been together now close to 18 years. But it does happen rarely, very rarely. But I agree with Jesse. Money line them today. Dogs in Game 5. Which, let's be honest, we'll go conspiracy route here. I can't. I'm sort of shocked the Lakers won last night because you figured to get 5. Right? Let's be honest, Russ. The NBA, they want their ratings and games drawn out as long as they can. That's whatever. We could joke about it, but rarely we see 4-0 sweeps in conference finals or even regular finals, right? There's always that, someone comes in, steals one. But Miami today, I kind of like the over as well, because if Boston has any heart, they'll show up and score some points today. I mean, that's all I can look at. But prop for me, I can't get involved in a prop here because the Boston team to me is a heartless bunch of leprechauns. I mean, they're terrible. The coach is like, you just see the comments. It's just the body language.
The press conference was ridiculous with Zomazula. I mean, he was like passive and wishy-washy and trying to play the martyrs
totally
role.
Deflated.
Yeah.
They're just like, how do you back?
Well, he ended up storming off the podium, didn't he?
I didn't see the entire. I listened to. I got tired after the first few minutes of him saying it's on him like 17 times within the first 3 minutes. It's okay. You're making your point. You're backing your players. You're trying to take all the pressure off them and take on the onus of responsibility. Before you jump on the sword, try to make some proper adjustments throughout the course of the game that helps your team win. So Sean, you're on Miami?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Miami and the over here. I
Yeah.
just they've scored every game. Miami, they keep scoring.
Yeah.
Boston hasn't, and that's the difference, right? We're not expecting Miami to come out and score 115 a game, right? I thought they'd be a little more defensive because they're perceived as the lesser club, and rightly so. They're good, but they weren't. Nobody had them saying come in here and take care of business like they had the last two games. But they sweep here. They get out of the playoffs with one loss to Milwaukee and Miami.
Yeah,
And then they're written off. Then it's like, well, Denver's going to win it all. Like they're not even getting respect for the next round.
this is a team in Miami that people forget. They had a play in the play-in tournament, and they got blown out at home by Atlanta in the first play-in game and got a second opportunity, and they beat Chicago, and the rest is history here. So, up to this point anyway. So, Miami's going to be a popular pick. There's no two ways about it. And
this line has come down, though. I think this was a 2.5 opener. It's come down to like a 1 now. So people are betting Boston, I think.
Yeah, it's what I have in this is actually 75% of the tickets in the source that I use, which has been pretty accurate for me. 75% of the tickets, individual tickets bet have gone on Boston. And then, but
a 2.5 opener.
Yeah. I'm sorry. 76% of the tickets have gone on Miami. I'm sorry, Sean.
Oh, really? Miami?
Yeah, but 56% of the total money bet is on Boston. So it's pretty, at this time of year, I don't put a lot of stock in that, because
I agree.
There's
it's
no
one game that the cold country's betting on. So
yeah, so the chances of the public being right are much greater than if there's a card of 10 games. Does that make sense?
It's one game that everybody's betting on. So it's going to be, I don't say it's 50-50, but it is. One team's going to win and one team's going to cover. And at basically a pick 'em, it's really how people perceive things. And I agree. Any kind of March Madness, Super Bowl playoffs, it's one standalone game or a couple games. I throw those kind of numbers. How do you take that? You can't automatically fade the public anytime there's a standalone game. That's right. I mean, we've talked about this before, I think, everybody, right?
Absolutely. Yes. And Jesse, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't put much stock into that anytime, really. The public can be right, they can be wrong. I try not to let outside influences affect the way I'm handicapping the game.
Yeah. But it's always a good thing to look at. I know a lot of us are interested in looking at that, and I'm one of them. I don't put much stock in that when it comes to one game situations like Sean just alluded to. All right. So Albert Einstein said what, Jesse?
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Well, to talk like my man Jack Nicholson, screw Albert Einstein, Jesse. I'm already insane. I might as well get more insane. Right, Sean? It's, I just can't go with the flow. I can't go with everybody thinking Miami's mailed in, Boston quit, which they did the other night. Look, this will tell me a lot about the Boston Celtics going forward, going into next year. They lose this game tonight and put up an effort like they did the other night, which was virtually no effort. They quit. They didn't show any heart. They didn't show any character. All their star players got benched in the fourth quarter because they were playing so poorly. There has to be a lot of changes going forward because this is a team that got to the NBA Finals last year and a team that was on the cusp of getting to the NBA Finals before, they're still alive, but the chances of them winning 4 games in a row are pretty slim because it's never been done before. Anyway, Boston has lost their last 3, which is all came in a series. They haven't lost 4 in a row all year long. As a matter of fact, Boston, since the 2020-2021 season, after losing 3 in a row, they're 11-1 straight up. That means over the last 3 seasons, they've only lost 4 straight games one time. The Miami Heat, not only have they won the first 3 in this series, obviously they clinched the last series. So they're on a 4-game win streak. And Miami has had no 5-game win streaks all year. So that's something worth noting to me. And 75, like I said, 75% of the tickets on Miami so far, 56% of the money on Boston. But yet there's very little line movement. So there's not a lot to be concluded out of that. You got more money on Boston, which means the bigger bettors are betting Boston, and the smaller bettors are betting Miami. That's all that tells me. And at this time of year, folks, like we just touched upon, that's pretty moot because there's only one game. I'm going to go with Boston plus 1.5. So
I got a question for you, Ross.
Okay.
Let's say, for argument's sake, that Boston does win this game. What is the line in game 5? In game 2, it was 9.5.
Yeah.
So what's it going to be in game 5 after the Heat would be up 3-1 in the series at that point?
I think the sports books have to really take a look at what transpires in this game. Obviously, it would have to be a Boston win for them to even have to calculate what they're going to do in game 5. I think a lot will have to do with did Boston show heart and character in game 4? Did they blow them away? Now, if Boston goes in and wins a game by 10 or 15 points, I would say it'd be somewhere between what we're seeing tonight and what we saw in the first 2 games in Boston. I would say somewhere around 5.5, 4.5 to 5.5. That would be my guess. Jesse, I don't know. What do you think?
I just had it in my mind 6.5.
I was thinking like 6.5. I figured.
Yeah,
So
I was thinking the books are stubborn. They don't like to change their mind. It takes a lot to get them to change their mind. And yeah, I think if Boston can pull off a convincing win tonight, I think there's going to be a lot of people believing in them.
Yeah, I mean, they're not that stubborn because Boston was a 3-point favorite in game 3 on the road.
Yeah.
And now they're a 1.5 point dog. So
I'll tell you, I think even in a closer contest, if they win, if it's like a ugly 101-97 kind of dogfight, I think that would even punch up the line a little more because like, look at this. They didn't quit. They were right in it. Look at the heart. They're back. This is what champions do. This is why they were favored in these other games.
Well, I mean, and then there's the other side of the coin. If they're winning a game by 20 at the half, and Miami has a torrid comeback in the second half and only loses by 2, again, you can make a case that this team quits down the stretch. So we'll see. I mean, a lot is going to have to do with body language, character, and obviously it's all a moot point if Boston doesn't win the game. It's there's no discussion to be had, and we'll be talking about Miami and Denver, which shapes up to be a very intriguing series. 2 teams that I tell you, I was dead wrong on both teams. I really thought Boston would win this series, and I liked the Lakers in the other series. But hey, my overall record in the NBA playoffs is pretty good, so I like where I stand right now, even though I lost 3 in a row. You know what, guys? Not to cry, okay? I had that game over 224 last night. 131 at the half, and the damn game ends at 224 right on the nose. I lost. I had 224.5 on my site in sports capping, but picks and parlays and sports memo, I had 224. In any event, that was not a push I felt good about, guys. That's like taking a loss.
I just jumped on real quick to look at the box score and be like, all right, maybe we got some terrible free throw shooting. I mean, 23 at 26 and 19 at 22. You really can't even complain about missing a couple free throws. Like you hit 85% of them, almost 90%.
Yeah. You know what I noticed is Reeves had been red hot, and he only got 2 3-point attempts last night after getting like a dozen. And hitting like 6 of 9, and the fact that they weren't kicking the ball out to Reeves more than twice in the game is criminal in my opinion, and especially in a close game.
Yeah, I think some of what that had to do with, Jesse, and it's just my educated opinion, is that LeBron James for the first time in the series was very good from the 3-point line.
Yeah, I was gonna say that he was 4 of 7, and he was the entire. He scored 21 points in the first quarter or something. I mean, the guy was like, "If we're going down, I'm scoring 100 today. I'm not taking."
And that was the first time he shot the ball well from 3 the whole game. So my point being, Jesse, he if I noticed on a lot of occasions, it's LeBron that's dishing the ball off to Reeves for a wide open three through penetration mostly, and I think that he had such a green light last night that it probably deprived Reeves of a bunch of touches, but you know what? He gave him the best opportunity to win. He scored 40. They only lost by 2, and they had a shot at the end, So in any event, all right, Jesse, tell the folks, go over all the picks you had that are free on our show today. Also, tell the folks how you've been doing of late and what you may have coming up.
All right. We got Jason Tatum under 29.5 total points. Tatum under 45.5 points, rebounds, assists. We got the Miami Heat to win the game, and we're going to keep on riding them until they clinch. And we got Jimmy Butler to lead the conference finals in scoring at plus money, plus 125.
So him, he's dead even, right, Jesse? I didn't mean to cut you off.
I believe that him and Tatum are even right now on points.
Okay. All right.
And like I said, Butler's averaging more per game in the playoffs. He's got home court tonight. I like Butler. I like Butler at even money, and if they're giving me plus money, I'll take it.
All right. And you like Miami on the money line. You said to win the game. So Miami would be what? Like minus
120. 120 is the going rate, I think.
Minus 1. That's actually not a bad number when you're talking about their 1.5 or 2 on the point spread. So you might want to take a look at that. But even if they go up to 130, if you like Boston, you shouldn't shy away from making that money line bet.
Yeah.
It's better to point spread bet, So anyway, Sean.
I agree. I'm with them on the 120 here, Miami. Definitely, if it goes to the next round, the next game for a game 5, we're going to a plus 145, 160.
Yeah,
I'll take Miami then. And I like that he mentioned the scoring leader between Butler and Tatum there. But who's Butler's second guy who's going to come in and score 30 something? That's not happening. Where we saw Marcus Moore have a big game. Yeah, Brown could have a big game. So yeah, that's a good one. You said was minus 125, Jess, for him, or even money?
It's plus 125.
Plus 125.
Tatum is minus 175 to be the scoring leader. He's averaging fewer points per game. He averages a lot less on the road than he does at home.
Yeah.
And
he's not scoring 40 tonight. I mean, if he scores 40, they're losing anyway, because that means nobody else is scoring on that team. He's got Smart and Brown who could score 30 a pop.
Well, if Miami wins tonight, it's just going to come down to who gets more tonight.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, him and Jaylen Brown were horrible in the last game, meaning Tatum.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, Miami's shooting 42% from the 3-point line in a series. Boston, on the other hand, how about this? 21 out of 77, 27.3% from the 3-point line. That's a major reason why they're down 3 games to none. So this is a lot better 3-point shooting team than they've shown. I'm not so sure that Miami is defending extremely well in that area, more so than Boston is just very tight from the 3-point line. They're just missing wide open shots. And hey, sometimes that gets in your head, right, guys? We've seen it before where a team just can't snap out of a funk that they're in. And this might be the case for Boston. But I'm going to take Boston tonight, guys. I'm going to take the 1.5 points as opposed to these two gentlemen. And I'm going to go with the contrarian approach, and I'm going to be on an island. I know that, but we'll see how we make out tomorrow. Now, the other series has ended in the NBA as the Lakers were eliminated last night by Denver, which means that Sean and while I got you guys here, and then I'm going to let the public know at the same time, Sean and Jesse will be discussing Major League Baseball tomorrow morning. So we'll have a couple free picks for you in Major League Baseball. And then we'll see how the rest of the week transpires. We'll see how this game goes tonight. If Boston stays alive tonight, we'll be discussing the NBA on Thursday morning. Otherwise, folks, this week's schedule is hinging on what goes on in the NBA. And worst comes to worst, we'll be discussing baseball like we'll be doing for the next couple months anyway. All right. Any final words, boys?
Yeah, I mean, if people want hockey and soccer and all that and CFL, they can catch me at Jesse Shule Picks on YouTube.
There you go.
I don't mind talking about some of those lesser sports. We call CFL poor man's pigskin.
There you go. Jesse Shule, you could just look him up right on YouTube. Does a fine job every day, putting out a free pick. And then Sean, 7 days a week, Midday Money, great podcast. Also does, I keep forgetting the name.
Look at headlines. Look at headlines is the night show.
Look at headlines. I'm sorry, Sean. No disrespect.
Yes. No, that's all right. It is. So the Look at headline show. It's usually about like 10 or 15 minutes. Not long. I just we run through the baseball, and if there's obviously hockey or an NBA game, we hit on that real fast. But it's not a drawn out show. It's just these are what I'm looking at the night before. These are the games up. See you tomorrow morning at Midday Money.
So you are no longer Jesse's man crush. Jesse now has a man crush. I just gathered over the last 2 weeks. It's gotten better and better and more that he has a man crush on Jimmy Butler now. So you're off the hook. And Jimmy
if you don't have a man crush on Jimmy Butler, something's got to be wrong. I mean, he's MJ's son, for God's sake.
That's right. That's right. If you listen to Sean, he'll tell you that too. And
it's all over now. I had said that a couple times, and now you see it's popping up the little, because that's been a couple years ago. They said that too about him. So
yeah, but probably not everybody had heard it. But nowadays, everybody's heard that one.
Yeah. Sean, you have anything else you want to advise the folks what you may have coming up?
So I'll have a lot of baseball. I had a losing day yesterday. I dropped my baseball yesterday, but still plus 237 on the year, 176 and 182. Obviously, some plus money kind of stuff there. A lot of games like that. NBA playoffs, believe it or not, I'm not throwing a lot of games out season-wise, but 14 and 10, 58%. So obviously, I mentioned the Heat here as well, but and hockey, not too bad. So
yeah,
I have a little bit of everything, but obviously for me, baseball is my favorite. Baseball is my favorite.
There you go. And there's a lot of baseball bettors out there. And folks, if you like underdogs and you like return on investment and you're not worried about win percentage, Sean's your guy because he bets volume, he wins, and he doesn't necessarily hit a high win percentage. But you don't have to in moneyline betting, especially when you use a lot of dogs the way he does. And Jesse, what can you say? Jesse's been hitting at a tremendous rate for almost 2 years now. And it's not a fluke at this point, folks. JesseShule.com is where you can find him. Both of these gentlemen do great podcasts on their own. And we're very lucky here at the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Channel to have both Jesse and Sean with us, and also Doug Upstone over at DocSports.com. You could find me at rbwins.com. That's rbwins.com. Cooled off a little bit in the NBA playoffs, going 0-3-1 with my last 4. I'll pick it back up. But still, even with that, 34-22 during the NBA playoffs, somewhere around 61%. And that includes 17-9 with my last 26 NBA playoff selections. So you can find me at rbwins.com. 2-1 in Major League Baseball yesterday. Look to pick that up as well. And there you have it. rbwins.com for Ross Benjamin, picksandparleys.net for Sean Higgs, and Jesse Shule. Real easy, JesseShule.com. Until the next time, which will be tomorrow morning for Sean Higgs, Jesse Shule, and Ross Benjamin, we'd like to wish each and every one of you all the very best. Take care and God bless, folks.